With the release of the latest expansion for Elite Dangerous, the longest awaited feature, the Space Legs, was introduced. It was glorious! Finally players got to experience the leg freedom. On Steam alone, the most players ever logged in to play it. So what the fuck happened? In just 5 weeks since the launch, the player numbers not only returned to normal, which to be expected, but moreover, dwindled. The Steam reviews were bad, very bad. Developer team closed off even more, despite promising the more communication, leaving the PR team to basically go on a damage control, and it seems to be getting to them as well, as they got quite a bit more defensive. Some would even call it unprofessional. Even if you look at the dedicated content creators, my fellow peers in this whole endeavor, they seem to be switching off Elite for other similar games, either temporary or permanently. Moreover, Elite is 6 years old now. Especially in all this light, a lot of people were starting to ask, is Elite dying? Now, some years ago, I did examine the same question. It was at the time when Horizons was in about a mid-swing. At the time, it wasn't really growing nor dwindling. However, it does make you ask, how long can a game tread water like that? However, it was not long before things started picking up again, and it seemed that Elite was going to ramp up things, and it kinda did. After Horizons ended, however, the Beyond series was basically a period in time when they fixed or added leftover features that they didn't manage to finish for Horizons, and then came the real maintenance phase. A whole year of drought with little to no updates or changes where the community learned that developers sent majority, and I quote developer that I asked this directly face to face, approximately 75% of the team to develop the new era, the biggest update ever. Expansion called Odyssey. When we finally saw the first glimpses of it, the hype got real, despite my efforts of voicing concerns for getting excited about crap we haven't seen anything of. Still, the hype persisted to some degree despite some very concerning facts. Upon release, I myself expected developers to be given enough time to properly release an average product. But it was not even that. The CEO or whoever in the higher up ranks in the company deliberately shoved this update out, knowing full well that the final part, at least the optimization, was not done being developed. And we have evidence for this, mind you. They shoved out this expansion at a full price, claiming that it was a finished product and not a beta, alpha number 2 or early access. And all for what? Well, being a company, it was very clear that Frontier released a finished product just so that they don't miss their financial end of year. Either it was due to investor influence, negligence from the higher-ups, or just absolute stupidity. One thing was still clear. It was a very bad release. But people don't leave the game just because one DLC is bad. And the thing is, yes, people are leaving the game. It's sad to see the community dwindle, but that's the result. So why do people at this time choose to, well, at least take a break from the game as a whole, instead of just not playing the DLC part and simply doing the base game? Well, it has to do with the trust in the company and developer team under it. First off, the company as a whole treated their legacy IP like trash. A game that managed to get them out of making travesties for Microsoft like this.
Skittles, be careful. You're okay? Good.
Next then is the development team itself. Now players were already annoyed by the lack of communication from the team, but as long as things were decent, I guess ends justify the means. However, now, after the terrible release, there is no admittance of releasing early, either by the company's mandate so that they don't get sued, or simply to save face. Instead, the community management and the PR teams are being so honest and honestly talking about honest things, saying that the poor result of Odyssey is just something to be quote-unquote fixed rather than developed. Again, how can you fix something that your team did not have the time to actually create in the first place? Now I know optimization is not exactly like it, but for simplification purposes this analogy will do. But even if Odyssey was okay performance-wise on the launch, the underlying rotting feeling got to the players. It's just more grind, with no real gameplay, just with some clunky FPS pew-pews with no meaning to it, and grind to upgrade the crap for it. Oh, and of course with new graphics, yeah. And all that for $40 after 2-3 alleged years of development, which I can tell you probably was longer than that, with approximately 100 developers assigned to the project itself? I don't know about you, but I kinda smell bullshit. When you summarize all of this, the head of the company and higher-ups of Frontier forced developer unfinished shit to be squirted out onto the public. The developer team itself is not telling the full truth, and the community management and PR teams either don't know what the communication actually means or are incredibly limited by the company so that they don't say too much leading up to a lawsuit. Reason I think you could say that Elite is dying is that with this one massive fuck-up, it tells a bigger, deeper story about the people behind the game, about the people behind those people who control everything, and the absolute disregard and disgusting treatment of its legacy, fans, and creative work, which culminates in simple corporate greed. However, will Elite die? Well, the ball is in Frontier Development's court now. It will ultimately be their decision to stay and fight for the game, its reputation, for redemption, for its fanbase's love and respect. Or will they cut loose this rotting appendage that's been hanging on for the last 6 years, so the developers they got in the company could spend the time making Warhammer, Planet Roller Zoo Coaster, and F1 management games every year? I mean, seriously, how much life can you expect from this old game, right? Still, you can fuck up so hard, you can fuck the pooch so much and shit the bed so bad, but still recover. One game, one company, proved it. It all depends on what Frontier decides to do for the next few years. But that's about it on this a bit more complex, quite a downer rant I got for you today. As a creator myself, my loyalty is not to some game or company, but to my viewers. That's why I often say that I play and more so make videos about Elite Dangerous and other things, not because of the gameplay, let alone the fucking company or developer team. No, it's because of the community, for the folks that make this show happen. Though I don't have much. I mean, look at my Patreon, I really don't. Still, I have enough support, and I find it incredibly important to pay my audience back by informing and entertaining you, the viewer, the best I can. So, in case you want to join the supporting bunch over at Patreon, do check that and other useful links down below. But as for now, let me know, how many years do you think Elite still got in it?